Hey everybody, it's Gilbert Nichols. I'm out here with my beautiful assistant here, Rose. You see Rose, she's got some beautiful blossoms. They smell real good. And I just wanted to come out here and give you my 2 cents worth about the government shutdown. I know that's been like big news, and thankfully we don't have a TV in the house that is piping in any of that wonderful news, talking about the shutdown and how it's just affecting us and making us all so miserable, and it's because those politicians up in Washington, D.C. that can't get along, and president's blaming somebody else. Well, let's just see some of those things that are supposedly hurting us. One way, and this is from several different sources, I'll tell you later in my blog. One way is, one thing that you are being hurt by is you can't get a Social Security card. Well, nowadays, I know when my kids were born, they got Social Security cards, so they've had them all their life. And now I understand that's what they get when they're newborn. That's what they got when they were newborn. Now, I guess the only people that ain't, pardon my southern, but people that ain't getting a Social Security card, well, they must not be from this country originally. So if they're not getting one, well, it ain't like the majority of people, all right? So anybody that's newborn, they can just wait a while, because they ain't really going to need a Social Security card anyway for at least 15 years or so before they can start learning how to drive and get a job and stuff. So anyway, it ain't really been hurting that much. Number 2, you can't visit a national park. Well, the national parks, they belong to the people, don't they? And you can't visit your own property. That's kind of hard to believe. I mean, you got the Department of Homeland Security. I guarantee those guys are on the job. Doing what? I don't know. You got more than enough people doing the TSA work down at the airport. 30 people, when you only got, need 3 or 4 to operate the machines and wave a wand around everybody, but you got 30, 40 people standing around all looking like they're doing something. Why don't you get those people out there and get them to watch the national parks? I heard that they shut down the Alcatraz Island, so as the National Historic Park, tourists can't go there to visit a prison. Man, that's really sad. I am sorry to hear that. And you hear about other stories like that. I mean, is that really a hardship? Another thing is you'll have difficulty. This is economists are talking, okay? You'll have difficulty getting a home loan, since that the government owns, insures, or underwrites 90% of the home loans. And their affiliates, they say the government and its affiliates. I guess that'd be the banks. And so they say that you might have difficulty. Well, if I understand it correctly, you have difficulty now. It's not like they're passing them out like candy. It ain't like a coupon like there was back, 10 years ago when we had all the trouble with, low interest home loans. So you might have difficulty. You probably still have difficulty. But you know what, economists, I was told in college that economy is all a matter of supply and demand. And right now, especially here in Georgia, it's all, the realtors are fighting over getting a listing because, they don't have enough homes for people who want to buy a home. So if they're going to have difficulty getting a home loan, then I think the people that are competing to get those homes, I think they have a better chance. And I think this is a bunch of hogwash. Economists, they're kind of like the media. They kind of just get everybody stirred up, throw a lot of gasoline on the fire, but they really ain't really having a problem. They just want to make it sound like it's a problem. And you couple that with putting it on the sensationalist news media, and then you got, a gasoline fire out of control. And so the president looks at that and said, oh yeah, you Republicans are all in trouble now because, hey, look what's happening to this country. So, but the news is, administratively, everything should keep moving. The only concerns are consumer confidence and how consumers perceive that the shutdown could lead to a recession. So say the economists. Really? Consumer confidence. Let me ask you a question there, America and Mr. President. Who's sending the jobs overseas? You want to affect consumer confidence? Keep sending our jobs overseas. Keep having our products made in China and Malaysia and have people answering phones in Philippines and India, and see if that affects consumer confidence. Really? You think this shutdown is going to affect consumers? If anything, it's going to enlighten people to realize there's some things they can live without. And big fat government is one of them. So I'd say that we let it shut down a little longer. Maybe we can trim some of the fat, and we can start from the top and start trimming some of those hefty paychecks from those politicians that are snarling up the works, including the top man himself, and see if we can't get people moving. As long as that paycheck keeps coming in, they ain't moving so fast. Another thing is food assistance to 9 million low-income women and children, otherwise known as WIC. Now, I admit that when I was younger and our income wasn't all that great, it was great having WIC to come in and help us with bread and butter and cereal and diapers, whatever we had to get with the WIC vouchers. But even still, it forced us to get extra work if we needed to pay the bills. And if that's what it's going to take so that low-income children and women can take care of their needs, well, then let them go get a part-time job, cleaning houses or flipping burgers. That's the problem with a lot of America. They're too proud to go flip a burger for $5 or $6, $7, $8, whatever it is an hour. They're demanding $15 an hour. Well, shoot. I mean, if you're really hungry enough, you'll go work at those places so that you can take care of your family. Say in some place that a bunch of children might go hungry during this shutdown. Well, if a child goes hungry, he's got some lousy parents. That's all there is to it. Those parents ain't going to take care of his needs, and they're going to depend on the government to give him a meal. Well, then, you parents, you got a problem. You need to get out there, quit your crying about, I need my welfare, or I need this or that, when, shoot, you can go out and get a paper route. I see a guy driving an old raggedy car around here, but he's still driving it, and he's still delivering newspapers. Are you making much money? I don't know, a couple $100 a week. But if it's a couple $100 a week, well, then that takes care of gas and takes care of a few bills, doesn't it? So you think somebody here could do something like that? I'm thinking if you really get down to it, you can turn off that expensive cable television, put down those cigarettes and cigars and things you're smoking, and you quit giving everybody excuses that you can't find the job you're looking for. And maybe those children won't go hungry, and the ones that are going hungry, maybe they're going hungry because you've been feeding them too much of something they shouldn't be eating, or you've been drinking something you shouldn't be drinking. That ain't going much further with that. So, do we need some of these things? Maybe this might be a time for churches to open up. People to come back to church and say, hey, could you guys help us out? And we come back to church and let's try and raise our families and learn how to do things economically the way the Bible teaches, and maybe, just maybe, the people might find enough justification to stay there and be a help to other people. Who knows? That might be a good thing, and that would build up consumer confidence. The CDC had to cut back on the number of people monitoring a database. They had 8 people monitoring this PulseNet database so that you can be able to watch for dangerous, I guess, diseases. And so they got it cut back to 1 person. And so that's a hardship on America? I don't think so. But, they even say the FDA and the USDA, they're still operating. So, just how bad is it? The economists are really trying to blow it up. Head Start had to shut down. Some of the poor people are not able to have their kids watch their kids. Government watch their kids while they go work. And so, hey, I'm sorry about that. But how it was America like before Head Start got started? There may be some problems then, but hey, we've only gotten smarter, haven't we? I mean, we got smartphones in our hands. And so I'd say there's got to be an alternative instead of pouring millions of dollars into Head Start. Here's a good one. Art competition has been disrupted. Art. Some lady paints a picture of a polar bear and she's upset she has to put her display outside instead of inside because the art studio she's dealing with was closed due to the shutdown. Well, golly, we're just talking about some starving children and you're concerned about your polar bear. It's like, we got a little problem here, folks. If we, put all our eggs in one basket. We're just so concerned the government's going to help us. Another one: Army, Navy, Air Force football teams cannot play their intercollegiate football games. Okay, I'm sorry. That'd be good, but where'd all that money go that those people paid tickets to get in to see them play? What happened to all that money? They've been playing some games over the past years, and where's all that money gone? Especially if the Army and Navy are getting paid to go to school, and it's like there's something wrong with this picture, people. We're putting a lot of hope and excitement in the United States of America, and yet we're expecting the federal government, to meet all of our needs, and all these extra needs is something that they are just we can't live without them. And one economist said that we're losing $300 million a day. That economist, boy, I tell you, you get a dozen of them, you still have to buy. Well, anyway, I ain't gonna say. Anyway, it's just like economists are a dime a dozen. So here you are, you got the economists saying you're losing $300 million a day, $12.5 million a minute or hour or whatever it is. But what it is if you just consider if they're losing that much money a day, over a year's time, I calculated over $109 billion is saved just on these programs alone. That are, if we can shut down a few more things, we could probably save a whole lot more money, and we could pay off that national debt. No time at all. I believe it. Got a fat U.S. government. We need to trim down or shut it down and let the states run their own business, since that's where everybody lives anyway, in the states, right? All right. Hospitals. That's another winner here. Hospitals. They may not get their Medicaid payments as quickly as they do. It may take a little longer. Well, imagine that. You talk to a hospital billing department, and what they'll tell you, it takes forever for them to get the bureaucracy to pay Medicaid bills. And so it's going to take a little longer. Well, hey, let them wait. They're charging too much anyway. So, Mr. President, I think you got to have a better argument than this. I think you need to stop passing the buck. You're blaming the Republicans. Seems like every time you turn around, you're blaming somebody else. I haven't once heard you say I was wrong in what I chose to do. You backed down out of Syria, which was a good thing. You never even stuck your nose in there to begin with. But here you are. You're not apologizing. You say, well, we're going to wait for what the Russians do. And when things happen in Libya, you're going to blame the admirals. You're going to blame this and that. But you don't say, hey, I screwed up. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Boy, I tell you, it'd go a long way, Mr. President, if you would start owning up and letting the buck stop with you instead of blaming it on the previous administration, or blaming it on the Republicans, or blaming it on your mother-in-law, or whatever the case is. So, Mr. President, some of these things, maybe you need to take a closer look at the U.S. government and see, okay, maybe we are just a little too heavy somewhere, and we can back off of some of these things that we really don't need, and maybe force the American people that have gotten used to sitting around on their haunches and expecting the check to come in. Maybe they need to get up off their butt, turn their TV off, get outside, cut somebody's yard, make a little extra money, pay the bills, and shut up about their problems. If they're all they're going to do is just complain and whine. So that's my take on the news about the government shutdown, and I hope that we keep this shutdown going longer. I mean, post office said they're still going to deliver mail, so bill collectors, I'm sure they'll be happy. We're still going to pay the bills. But as far as these little programs, let's put America back to work and quit this crying and blaming, and that's all I have to say. So if you like it, great. If you're not, whatever. Leave me a message down below, and I'll see you again real soon. Me and Rose, we're just going to stop and smell the roses along the way. You have a great day. You absolutely deserve it.